Living in silence is the worst thing you can do for your mental health. In order to get the proper help and support you need to start talking about what you're going through. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you 2 ways to make starting this conversation a bit easier. Let's check it out. What's up everyone? If you're new to this channel, my name is Justin and this is Anxious Ambition, where we give you the tools and tips you need to better control your anxiety. Now today's video, we're going to be talking about how to start the conversation around your mental illness, anxiety, depression, OCD, whatever it may be. This can be really difficult, but is a very necessary step in your recovery. I think people don't talk about their mental illness because, they may be ashamed of it. They may think that other people won't take it seriously, or some people, may see it as a sign of weakness. You really need to ignore all that and start the conversation. What I recommend you do is make a list of all the people that you can trust. So whether that's your mom, your dad, grandparents, cousins, best friends, co-workers, go through that list and find the one person or 2 people that you can totally trust, where you're going to tell them what's going on and they're not going to bat an eye at it. They're not going to laugh in your face. They're going to listen to you because they care about you. Even if they don't understand what's going on, they will help you get the help you need. Now this is where it can get tough. Actually talking to someone about your mental illness. It's going to be scary and it's going to be hard, but again, it is very necessary that you do this. The first tip I have for you is actually writing a letter instead of just going straight up to the person or calling them and starting telling them everything that's going on. For me, when I was ready to start talking to people about my anxiety and depression, it was very difficult to put it into words in a conversation of what was going on. If you're struggling with anxiety, it can be extremely difficult to talk about this in person. So what I decided to do, and what I really highly suggest you do, is writing a letter. So what you're going to do is, the first thing I suggest is starting it off with something like, I love you and I'm writing you this because I need your help. I'm okay, but I really need to let you know what's going on in my life because I really can't do this alone. In this letter, you need to explain everything that's been going on. Talk about your anxiety attacks, your panic attacks, your obsessive thinking, the negative thoughts, the depression, the lack of energy. The more you can explain, the better. And I know it can be hard to explain, but the more you tell them, the better. If you just tell them, hey, I'm depressed, they might write it off, unfortunately. They may think, oh, their dog did die, so they are depressed. That makes sense. Or, they're not doing too well in school. That makes sense. You might be going through something that's more clinical, and a specific event may not have caused it. So you need to explain everything that's going on, all the feelings you're having, all the non-feelings you're having. I know for me, when I'm depressed, I have lack of feelings. So explain that to people. Explain to them that you don't have the lust for life right now. You don't have that motivation, that drive that you used to have. After you write this up, I know that a lot of you may not want to write a letter physically, but even if you're a rough draft, write it out on pen and paper. Because getting all those thoughts out of your mind and onto paper is going to be super therapeutic in itself. Once you start writing, you're starting to think of everything that's been going on. And it's like, wow, I really am struggling. There's a lot of things going on that I just kept up here. And just write it all out, everything. Get it out of your head, get it onto paper. And now, once you have it on paper, I do prefer, I think the best way to do it is give them a physical letter. And if you're like me, my handwriting is terrible, so possibly writing it in an email form or texting it to somebody is also an option. Now, I know they're going to be worried about you after reading this letter, so make sure at the end of it you put something about, this is preference, but tonight I'll give you a call. After you read this, give me a call, send me a text that you read this, and I'll call you back. Just something that you want to be able to make some type of communication after the fact, after this letter has been read. The letter is only a crutch to start this conversation for you. You can't completely ignore it. You need to speak about it, in voice. You need to actually have a conversation about this after the fact. So Now that they know a lot of the information, it'll make it a little bit easier. Again, it's not going to be easy. Nothing about talking about your anxiety or depression, anything is going to be easy. But I will tell you from experience and from talking to many others that have done the same thing, talking about it and not living in silence is going to be the greatest thing you've ever done on your road to recovery. Now that you've had this conversation with someone, now you have that person that can keep you accountable, whether it's making that appointment to see the therapist or psychiatrist, maybe making that phone call can be very anxiety filled. So you can ask, hey mom, hey so-and-so, can you please make that appointment for me? I really want to go, but if you help me take that first step, it's going to be extremely helpful for me. And most likely they'll do it for you. Another thing you may consider doing is posting on social media. Now this is probably a little bit controversial because people are going to think, oh, so-and-so is just posting this because they want attention. In a sense, you are looking for attention. Attention seeking isn't, in my opinion, all bad. If you're living alone in silence, you need some attention so you can get the help you need. If you post about your anxiety or depression on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever it is, you're going to be reaching many people, and if you didn't know, 1 in 5 people actually suffer from a mental illness over the course of their life. That's a staggering number. So even if you have 10 people that follow you, 1,000 people that follow you, you're going to have multiple people that have struggled or are struggling just like you. And they maybe even reach out to you, write a comment, send you a DM, email, text you, and now you have another person that could support you. And you're going to be surprised on who reaches out. When I posted my story, tons of people were reaching out to me that, one I haven't talked to in a long time, or I just never would have thought dealt with any type of mental illness. And it felt really good. These people I can text anytime now and be like, hey, I'm going through this and that, and they can relate to it. Your loved ones, again, are going to try to help as much as they can. But if they haven't gone through what you're going through, it's not something they can relate to. They may not understand. You're going to get more benefits from talking to someone that's been there and going through it. By posting your story, you're also starting the process of acceptance. Accepting your anxiety or depression is going to be very crucial in your recovery. Being in denial is only going to prolong this pain. So the sooner you can accept it and know that you might need some help, you might need to go see a therapist, psychiatrist, counselor, anything like that, you're going to be able to start recovering. If you keep pushing it to the side like it's not a real thing, you're never going to get better. On our Instagram page, @TheAnxiousAmbition, we love sharing people's stories. If anyone ever wants to, send me a DM, put a comment on a picture, anything. We'd love to share your story. By posting on a page like ours, you're now posting it direct. You're not preaching to the choir. We said earlier, 1 out of 5 people suffer from mental illness. In this group, 5 out of 5 people are suffering from mental illness. Now you may post, hey, I deal with social anxiety when I go to the grocery store, or I have OCD and this happens. And someone may be reading that and go, that's exactly what I deal with. Or I deal with something similar and, this helped me. So you'll see that people comment on these pictures, they DM each other, and now these relationships are happening inside the community, and we're creating the support system. Earlier I talked about how we need to tell someone close to us, because people that are directly in our lives really need to know what's going on. But at the same time, they may not know how to relate to you. They may not have gone through similar things. So having people like the Anxious Ambition Instagram page or Facebook page, you can go on there. You know that everyone there that's following it is in the same boat. And you can start talking to each other. We can start sharing our stories. By sharing your story, it just feels so good to get it off your chest. You may not have a close family member that you can talk to. And this might be your only chance to express what you're feeling. When you're suffering, you feel like there's no one else that's dealing with the same things you are. But the more you start talking about it, you're going to realize that a lot of people have been through some of the same shit you have, and they're still going through it. But over the years, maybe they've learned some tips and some tricks and some foods they eat, some supplements they take, some medications that work for them. There's things that we can help each other do. And if you're interested in sharing your story, just send me a DM and we'll talk about it. Living in silence is the worst thing we can do for our mental health. We need to start talking so we can start healing. If there's anything that you can take from this video, please just talk to one person and tell them about what's going on. If you're sitting there thinking, I haven't told anyone about this, I'm scared what they're gonna think, you need to throw that aside and go talk to somebody. If there's one takeaway from this video, it's talk to somebody. Please stop living in silence. Mental health, the stigma around it is starting to decrease, but it's still there. We're all aware of that. The more we can talk about it, whether it's sharing your stories, talking to your family members, or anything like that, it's gonna help get more awareness for mental health, and we're gonna be able to get better help and better support. Also maybe by you telling your story, you might have a friend that's been living in silence for a long time, and they're gonna feel inspired to start talking, and then they're gonna start getting the help they need. So please, write that letter, write that Instagram post, Facebook post, and just put it out there. You may be nervous, but once you do it, you're gonna be amazed at how good it feels to just get that weight lifted off your shoulders. If there's one thing you can take away from this video, please just talk to somebody. Write a letter, write an email, Instagram post, Facebook post. If you're holding that all in, it's gonna get heavier and heavier. Whatever you're dealing with, you need to get it out of your head and let other people know about it. Again, not for egotistical reasons, but because you actually need help, and it's okay to need help. If you found this video helpful, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this video, and remember, you're not alone.